All right, let me put this away and we'll get started here. All right. Golly, I'm running on 3 hours sleep last night, so I'm in this zone where anything could come fumbling out of my lips and into your ears. I just hope it's coherent. But let's give it a shot and see what happens. From my rat trap in Hollywood, which is code for my maid called in sick and my studio is filthy. It's the world-famous Mojo Elliott, ready to dig into another action-packed adventure of the Rat's Ass Podcast. Did you have a good weekend? Mine flew by. I mean, it feels like it was just Friday, and here we are digging into Monday. I have no idea what happened in between, and I swear to God, no drugs or alcohol were involved, so how in the hell does that happen? I do know that damn Punxsutawney Phil character predicted 6 more weeks of winter for you, the bastard. Or as we call it here in California, 6 more weeks of temps in the 60s, which means I'm sitting here naked with the fleece on right now, as far as you know. All right, let's take care of some business before we get into your pleasure. As you know, we've been looking for a name for the Rat's Ass Podcast Listener Club, and I asked for your help by emailing your suggestions to us. Well, we don't want you to go away empty-handed, so everybody who participated in this process, check your email, because we're going to set you up with an Amazon gift card as our thank you for this. All right, the final 3 finalists were Rat Bastards Mob, Dirty Rat Mob, and Rat Nation came in last minute. And then we put it on the spreadsheet, the last one that we did, and sent it back to everybody participating for a final vote. And it's the way it always happens. You know, the last one in usually wins. So the winner is Rat Nation. That's it, the name of the Rat's Ass Podcast Listener Club. And again, it came from out of nowhere. It was like one of the last 4 or 5 suggestions. We put them on the spreadsheet, sent it out to everybody, and 73% came back saying, that's the one. You named it, so that's what we're going with. And in the coming weeks, I'll be outlining the benefits of becoming a member of Rat Nation on the Rat's Ass Podcast blog that you can connect with at ratsasspodcast.com. Your one source for everything. You can now join Rat Nation. You can listen. You can read the blog. Connect with us on social media. All you have to remember is ratsasspodcast.com, and you're there. All right, the Grammy Awards happened last night. I missed it, totally spaced it. Did you watch? I read the recap this morning, and apparently everybody's talking about Kanye West showing up with his wife. I guess she wore the skimpy see-through outfit where onlookers could see her ass, cooter, and boobs. Her cooter and Hooters, and her buttocks. Man, Kanye's really desperate for attention. And that's the best he can come up with. I'll just put a sheer gown on my wife. I guess she had a black fur coat. I guess it wasn't real because PETA didn't go crazy over it. She dropped the coat, and there it was. Her whole world for everybody to see. Beyonce won for Best Country Album, even though it received very little radio airplay. My insiders in the radio industry tell me that they played it initially just to cure everybody's curiosity about it for a couple of weeks. Then they stopped playing it. So how do you win a Grammy without radio airplay? As I told you before, I've always felt that this felt phony to me, that Jay-Z financed the whole thing from start to finish. The whole image, all the downloads, most of the downloads anyway. I'd say he probably did 80% of the downloads. It was all to build her up as being the new big country star, because that's where the money is. That's where the action is right now. So they were trying to do this, and I think it was kind of deceptive, and I think people picked up on it. At least radio didn't support it. But I really believe, and I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll admit it if I find out differently, but I think Jay-Z flipped the bill for the whole shittery. Taylor Swift presented Beyonce with the award, and she was dressed in a very short Kansas City red dress. Thought she made it look good. She's been working on the Stairmaster, I could tell. All right, another sports news. It's Super Bowl week. Are you ready for football again? It was boring without football this weekend, wasn't it? The Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs will get it on in New Orleans. And as a Raiders fan, God, don't let the Chiefs win. If they do, I'll congratulate them begrudgingly. But I'd like to see Philly win this one. You know, I run into so many people, though, who say, I'm not watching. I don't care who wins. I don't care. But yet 120 million people will tune in to watch the game. Why can't you just admit that you're going to watch? You know you will. Maybe it's not for the halftime show for Kendrick Lamar, but you will watch the game. Come on. you'll at least watch the commercials. So don't tell me if I ask, what do you think? Who's going to win? I don't care. I'm not going to watch. Bullshitsky. In other news, and this is what really, really did take up my day yesterday, as I recall. I write a blog for Land of Lakers, and I do an article called Double Dribble. And I was so knee-deep into this yesterday, seriously. The trade between the Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks. No one saw this coming. Nobody saw this coming. And I guarantee you, LeBron didn't know about it in advance. Nobody with the Mavericks organization, Doncic, didn't know about it. But the Lakers sent Anthony Davis to Dallas for Luka Doncic and a bunch of players nobody really gives a rat's ass about. So we'll just focus on Davis and Doncic here. Davis is going to be 32 years old in March. Doncic will be 26. So there's why the Lakers made the trade. LeBron's close to retiring, and I've always said this. You don't want to build your team around a 32, 33, 34-year-old center without LeBron around to motivate him. And I think Dallas is going to find this out, potentially. Davis will digress as a player. I hope not. I mean, the guy, when he's on, he's dominant. But there are times where he does take games off. And I tend to think he'll take more games off than not in Dallas. But we'll see. Now, Dallas, it was kind of interesting that they gave up on Luka Doncic, who's 25 years old. I think he'll be 26 next month, regardless. That's the guy you can build a franchise around. So why did they give up on him? Was it the money? I mean, he was due a $345 million 5-year deal, max contract. That goes out the window because you can only sign a max deal with the team that drafted you. So that's going to cost them money. So they, as they say, they did him dirty. They did him dirty, but I'm happy to have him here in Los Angeles. Long term, it benefits the Lakers. Short term, I think it benefits Dallas, if Anthony Davis doesn't digress. Now, the big conversation we had on social media yesterday, simply, what are the Lakers going to do for a center? They've traded two great defensive players, and Max Christie and Anthony Davis. They don't have a big in the middle. Well, the Lakers won 4 out of 5 games without Anthony Davis against a couple of pretty good teams. So I think they feel like they can get away with what they have, with Jackson Hayes maybe playing the 5. He's a young guy, athletic, and maybe if he gets more playing time, maybe he blossoms. Maybe they're willing to give him a shot. Or they could opt to play small ball. With Reeves, Doncic, James, Hachimura, and Finney Smith, those 5 guys are going to deliver bombs from 3. They could win games 140, 135, that kind of stuff. But those guys have been shooting over 40% from 3, all 5. So they could go small ball and do that. It'll be run and gun, Showtime Laker basketball, that's for sure. Can't wait to see what happens. February 25th, circle that date. Dallas in Los Angeles to play the Lakers on TNT. It'll be a nationally televised game. All right, so let's see. What else has gone on? What else did we miss over the weekend here? We now have a tariff war happening between the United States, Canada, and Mexico. I hear what you're asking. Am I worried? Hell no. Canada and Mexico have nothing we can't make here in the United States. And both countries need us more than we need them, so I don't see their leverage anywhere. So I'm saying relax, let it play out, and you'll see it'll come out to our advantage, I believe. This is where patience must be exercised. Trump did say we might feel some pain in the near term. And again, on this podcast, I've always told you things aren't going to turn around as fast as you think. Anyway, regardless. So there has to be some things laid out in advance, and time has to take place for things to play out. Okay? It's not like Trump gets sworn in at 12 o'clock and at 12:01, why didn't the eggs prices go down? This is the kind of dipshittery that we're going to deal with, the Democratic dipshittery, so I'm telling you to be patient and let this thing play out. But be prepared for the obstructionist party, the Democrats, to ramp up their Democratic dipshittery over all of this. That's all they got. They want to fight in the streets. Hakeem Jeffries. We're going to take it to the streets. Bring it. Jesus Christ. Frickin' obstructionist Democrats. They don't realize this is why. What was the stat I saw? Let me see. I wrote it down the other day, too. Hang on a second. I got to find this for you because it's important. You got to hear this. Here it is. 57%. No, I can't read my own damn writing here. No, it's 57% of Americans despise Democrats. 57%, that's more than half the country. Only 31% approve of Democrats. So there's some that are on the fence there. What's that? 31 and 57, that's 88. So 12% are on the fence. 12% could go either way. But be prepared for more Democratic dipshittery coming your way. All right, it's game time. Let's get into it. Let's play another round of head trauma. This round is called the screen test. How are you at your movie trivia, huh? I'm going to give you a line from a movie, and you have to tell me the name of the movie, the character, and the actor who said it. All right, so here's the line. Listen close. Oh, as I hold this cold meat, I'm reminded of Winston. God rest his soul. Oh, as I hold this cold meat, I'm reminded of Winston. God rest his soul. I have the answer for you coming up on the podcast. I'll also post the answer on the Rat's Ass Podcast Facebook page. You can connect through ratsasspodcast.com. Oh, okay. Before we get into the rest, I got to wet my whistle again. Like I said, 3 hours sleep, right? God, back in the old days, we used to just take a hit of speed and it'd be fine. All righty, who's ready besides me for some loose behavior? Here's what's happening on the Rat's Ass Podcast X feed, where we choose an interesting post on X and share a few comments to get us warmed up so we don't see any demons in our sleep tonight. All right, the Golden Ghost posted this one. What's a common phrase people say that doesn't make any sense or irritates you? All right, Rick Prickford. Prickford? What kind of name's Prickford? Rick Prickford said, "You'll regret it when you're dead." No, you won't. Brianna Collins said, that cost me an arm and a leg. That one bugs me. When people buy a car or, a home, you say, how much did that cost you? Oh, it cost me an arm and a leg. No, it didn't, because you got both arms and both legs. Makes no sense. Stan Bronski said, to be honest. Does that mean they're lying previously? Stan, I've done a lot of research on this. And what it really means when somebody says to be honest, it means that they're going to be brutally honest. They were being honest, but now here comes the brutal truth. Buckle up. That's what that means. But I can see where you think somebody's saying, to be honest, were you lying to me previously? But that's the research I did on it. Lisa Riley said, changing gears. I hate it when they see that in meetings, without saying if we're downshifting or not. I've thought the same thing myself. I hated that phrase. Well, let's change gears. Okay, well, are we downshifting here? Are we going from fourth to fifth? What are we doing here? Are we going to a higher gear or not? What do we automatically assume? We're going to a higher gear? Because if you're changing gears, you're changing the conversation, obviously. I just want to know if I need to clutch or not. Maybe I need to double clutch. Now, my go-to, I know it drives people nuts, and I do this on purpose because I love driving people nuts. It's just part of my DNA. I always like to say, well, I'm always right unless I'm wrong. Think about that one. A lot of people go, oh, okay, if you think you're right, all right. But basically what I'm saying is I'm right unless I'm wrong. I think it's one of those things. I think I win either way. I'm being honest by saying unless I'm wrong, and if I'm right, hey, cool. All right, let's get into today's celebrity sleaze. Am I coherent? I'm starting to feel like I'm not coherent at this point. All right, are you following this ordeal between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni? I've never heard of this Baldoni dude until just recently after he did the movie, oh God, what was it called? It Ends With Us. That's the first time I've heard him. So he sounds like an opportunist to me. And I really don't give a rat's ass about this story. Do you? When I sit back and I hear this, that he's going for $400 million, I see an opportunist on this. Because here's why. Hollywood was built on inappropriate behavior. So my feeling is either get over it, Justin, or find another frickin' career. Sexy singer Shakira turned 48 over the weekend, and she's right. Her lips don't lie, nor do her hips. Her hips don't lie. They say she's definitely 48. Philadelphia Eagles running back Saquon Barkley got engaged right before the Super Bowl to his lady Anna Congdon. Okay, this is it. His knees are going to be weak, so I'm betting Kansas City will three-peat. Thanks, Saquon. The Raider Nation thanks you for that one. All right, thanks to Jelly Roll for doing a first responders concert in L.A. over the weekend. I know you're expecting me to do some kind of a joke about a guy named Jelly Roll performing for the police and firemen. I'm not. I'm just going to thank him for doing it. It was a gracious thing that he did. And a few of his friends stopped by. I think it was Lainey Wilson. I'm not familiar with her. Flavor Flav, we're all familiar with the guy with the big clock. I said clock, C-L-O-C-K. I know nothing else. And somebody else. I think it was Marshmello. Who's Marshmello? I think he's a DJ, right? But they all did this free show for everybody, and it's really appreciative. So I'm not going to make any jokes about him doing. Jelly Roll did a show for the police and firemen. A guy who went, though, did send me a note and said he did perform 13 songs, which is a baker's dozen, but there you have it. Christina Hack, currently participating in a flip-off with her ex-husband, Tarek El Moussa, on HGTV, is working on husband number 4, it appears. She was caught making out in public with a brand-new boyfriend identified as Chris LaRocca. Now, I'm not buying this either. I'm not buying it's a real relationship. To me, it's shameless promotion for the TV show. That's all it is. They were kissing in public for the cameras. LaRocca has a better chance of tapping the Property Brothers than tapping Christina. If you see the pictures, you'll see what I mean. All right, but who gives a rat's ass about that? All right, the wait's over. Here comes the Rat's Ass Podcast email from our Gmail. You email your questions, comments, thoughts, and observations to me at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com, and I respond. No topic is off the table. Good luck offending me, too. It's not possible, so bring it all on. The more outrageous and salacious, the better. I do not read your email in advance. My producer, Fleabag, forwards me your name, where you're from, and retweets them. Retweets them? Rewrites them. 3 hours. I'm telling you. Stick around. It's going to get good. Rewrites them so I can respond rapid fire and on the fly. All right. Melinda Y. from Jonesboro, Arkansas said, come clean and tell us if you really do your podcast naked or not and in your pajamas. Well, I mean, Melinda, part of the fun of doing this is theater for the mind. Theater for the mind. I just told you I was naked in a fleece. Do you believe me? Maybe I'm here in a pair of jeans and a T-shirt. But isn't it more fun to picture me naked in a fleece and maybe in my pajamas? And what kind of pajamas am I wearing? Am I wearing a onesie? Or a twosie? Does the butt have a flap or not? I mean, all of those things come to mind, right? So it's all theater for the mind. But here's the reality. When I worked in radio, I did a morning show for 20 years. And I was also a program director, an operations manager, a VP of programming, but I still did my morning show. And at that time, I would go into work every day, and I wore blue jeans and a T-shirt. But when I got off the air, I went into my office, which was my phone booth, and I turned into Superman, meaning I put on a monkey suit. I wore a suit every day. And so when I do the podcast, I want to be comfortable. And to be straight with you, you want me to come clean, it's always in my pajamas. Sometimes shirt on, sometimes shirt off. Right now in the wintertime, I got pajama bottoms on with a fleece. As far as you know. Got to keep a little theater for the mind in there. Danny B. from Manhattan Beach, California. Have you ever auditioned for an acting gig? No. Never interested me. I've had demo tapes to go out for voiceover, which was, I did that a lot. I did a lot of voiceover work here in Los Angeles, but never for an acting gig. Not something I was ever wanted to do. Now, I did, just by being a morning personality, I was invited to have small roles in a couple of plays, Oklahoma and Damn Yankees. But they were very small roles, very small speaking roles, 2 or 3 lines. But I got to make an appearance, got to talk about it on the air, self-promotion. And therefore, we promoted the play, and that was kind of the trade-off. So that's about the only thing I did, Danny. Candy S. from Tempe, Arizona. What is the last movie you watched? And do a quick review. Oh, God, I watched Roadhouse. Okay, the weekend's coming back to me now. I watched Roadhouse last night with Patrick Swayze. Not the one, and that's very good, too, by the way. The other Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal. That's a really good one as well. A lot of people didn't like it, but I thought it was really, really good. But the original Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze and Sam Elliott, no relation. Just a fabulous movie to go back and see that again. It's been a number of years. It was one of those movies I probably watched 20, 25 times. But either one of those Roadhouse movies are very good if you like action. And what I love about Roadhouse, there are so many memorable scenes in the movie. But the one I always liked, for some reason, was when Sam Elliott comes out and they're in the fight at the bar in the back. Sam Elliott kicks this guy in the knee and says, "God damn, that hurts, don't it?" It's obvious. But for some reason, that scene sticks out more to me than any other scene in the movie. And there's a lot of them. But that scene, for whatever reason, maybe it was the fear that I would playing sports of getting a knee injury and thinking, God, man, I've seen guys snap their knees, ACLs. Damn, that hurts, don't it? Yeah. So that kind of stands out for me in Roadhouse. I met some of the people from the cast years ago after they had filmed it and were promoting it. Travis McKenna, who played in the show as a bouncer, became a regular on the radio show for a couple of years. Just a nice guy. And I think he actually did a few acting roles, made enough money to where he bought a small piece of land in the Cayman Islands. I'm not sure. I could be way off on that. I know that he went somewhere tropical, though. All right, Mike K. from Charlotte, North Carolina, says, when you invite a girl over and she shows up, what's a subtle sign she'll give you that says she's open to having sex? Now, I don't know if this is true or not, Mike, but I've heard that if a woman comes over to your place and she takes off her shoes, she's feeling very comfortable, she may be open to it. I think the bummer is if she only takes off one shoe. That's a mixed signal. But I've heard that's a subtle sign if you're looking for something subtle. You know, if she whips off her bra on her top, then that's pretty obvious. But I guess if she's just kicking off her shoes, feels comfortable, puts her legs up on the sofa with you, maybe there's something there. But you always got to be careful. No means no, by the way, too, Mike, okay? Rand M. God, what is this? Miri, Malaysia? Sounds like a person's name. Rand M. from Miri, Malaysia. So I'm dating a woman who has a speech impediment. Who are real. Is this a real email, Fleabag? It is? Okay. All right. I'll do it straight-faced. Then I'm dating a woman with a speech impediment who I really care for. There's a joke in there from way, way in the back that popped into my head. 3 hours sleep, I'm telling you, right now. Anyway, she says, I really care for her, and my friends mock her behind her back. Now I really feel bad. If faced with the same situation, what would you do? Well, I'd sit down with my friends, and they're your friends, right? Sit down and say, hey, guys, I'm serious about this lady. I understand she has a speech impediment, but I'm overlooking that because I really care for this person. And if they don't understand, you whip out the Mo, Larry, and Curly. The one, the two. And then you go Curly on their ass, right? Pick out one, your left hand's, Larry, right hand's Mo. And then you go to work. Do the Curly on them. That'll take care of them. They won't mock her behind her back then. They don't know who they're messing with. All right, Tanya B., Norman, Oklahoma. Do you think Travis Kelce will propose to Taylor Swift after the game if the Chiefs win? Hey, it's possible. These guys love the limelight. They want attention, yada, yada, yada. So I wouldn't rule it out. He may do it even if they lose. Maybe not. I don't think I'd be in the mood to ask somebody for their hand in marriage if I just lost the Super Bowl. But if they win, get ready for it. Why not? We'll see what happens. Crystal Q, Hartford, Connecticut, says, what's the best way to fire an... Oh, God, this is a serious one, folks. Hang on, let me sit up straight. This is a serious one. What's the best way to fire an inherited employee that was a terrible DEI hire and has support of HR? Ooh, Crystal, sticky situation. God bless. I didn't really have to deal with too much DEI when I was running radio stations. I always picked the best person for the job regardless. So I'm not a DEI person, but I think when you're dealing with somebody who got the job, doesn't have the qualifications, it makes it sticky if they have support of HR because they're the ones behind this initiative to support DEI. So let's work through this real quick. I think the best way to go about this, usually when you have a tough person that you need to get rid of, and they're not performing, it kind of lends to the group firing. So I'll give you a recommendation here. As a manager, maybe you do a group improvement process where everybody's going to sit down with you and you're going to come up with 3 goals to help them improve their job. Now, you really have to do it, and you have to manage it. You don't just throw it out there and bring them in 30 days later and say, well, let's see where you did on those 3 goals. You got to help each and everybody in your department strive to get better on these 3 things. They have to be legitimate. You have to file that with HR. Then you go back on a weekly basis and you make notes. If this DEI hire really isn't doing the job and everybody else is, it will be glowing. And then your recommendation is that you need to replace this person. Now, that could mean relocating them somewhere else in the company. It could mean firing them. And usually firing comes with severance, so you have to be concerned with that. But that's what I would do in that situation. Of course, you have lawyers, hopefully. I would work this plan and go to your legal department and say, hey, I've got a difficult hire here that I need to move along. Be honest about it, and here's how I'm going about it. But believe me, the company will want serious documentation on all of this, all right? You can email me, ask questions off the podcast too, but I am curious to see how that works out for you because I'm doing this on the fly, by the way, all right? Not very well thought out. So think about it, take that idea, and see if you like it. Keep sending your emails with your thoughts, observations, comments, and questions to ratsasspodcast@gmail.com, and I'll give you my 2 cents. Happy to give you my 2 cents that makes no sense on the next episode. All right, let's get you the head trauma answer. The round is called the screen test. I gave you a line from a movie, and you have to tell me the name of the movie, the character, and the actor who said it. Okay, the line is, oh, as I hold this cold meat, I'm reminded of my Winston. God rest his soul. All right, the answer is Mrs. Doubtfire. It was said, not by Mrs. Doubtfire, the character Daniel Hillard. Daniel Hillard is the actor who brought Mrs. Doubtfire to life. So that's why you say the actor is Robin Williams who said it. But the character was Daniel Hillard. I got it all bass-ackwards there. What did I tell you, 3 hours sleep? Okay, the movie is Mrs. Doubtfire, said by Daniel Hillard, the character, and the actor was played by Robin Williams. So there you have it. Did you get it right? If you missed it, go see a doctor about your head trauma. I hope you have good insurance, too. All right, I got to go floss and maybe get some sleep, too. But I do have one more thing for you. Did you know the hotel TV remote is considered to be dirtier than the toilet sink and the door handles and even the dreaded bedspread? We know about those germs, the bed bugs. So let's say you're washing your hands before and after you go to the bathroom like I've kind of taught you how to do here to keep you healthy. Now you walk out of the bathroom, you go back into the room, and you pick up the hotel TV remote. Do a little channel surfing for a while and decide to, let's say, pleasure yourself. Guess what happens next? 3 hours sleep, ladies and gentlemen. 3 hours sleep brings it out. All right, shout-outs today. We're going to kind of change it up a little bit and do shout-outs to friends from our anti-social media. On TikTok, got to say hi to Richard Jordan for following us, Jared Leto, not the Jared Leto from 30 Seconds to Mars. It's a different Jared Leto. And Jenna Benish for following us on TikTok. On X, Kevin Cork. Yes, Kevin Cork from Fox News follows us. Miss W, who has some really funny stuff. And the gang at the Podcast Overlord. Thank you for following us on X. All right, that's it for this episode of the Rat's Ass Podcast. Make sure you check out the new ratsasspodcast.com to connect with us on the socials, listen to the podcast, check out the blog, and you can search my piece on the top 10 binge-watch TV shows, my favorite top 10 binge-watch TV shows. Have fun with that. We'll do this again on Wednesday, February 5th. Take care of each other, and thanks for stopping by the Rat's Ass Podcast.